Have you ever experienced the feeling of moving frequently due to your parents' job? Did you know that the houses you move into often hide stories of the origins and lives of their previous owners? Moving is usually an emotional journey, from the joy of welcoming a new life to the sadness of leaving old memories behind. But sometimes that journey leads us to mysterious houses, where the past seems to cling on and the present is shrouded in a chilling, eerie atmosphere. Haunted moving stories aren't just about old walls or strange noises. They open the door to a world of wandering souls, ghosts of the past, and dark secrets never before revealed. Let's explore terrifying and haunting stories, where each step seems to bring us closer to the most horrifying things. Moving frequently due to her parents' job became an inseparable part of Kai's childhood, a girl with a special psychic ability. Each time she left a place, Kai carried memories and nostalgia. But at the same time, she felt excitement for the new things awaiting her. The feeling of unfamiliarity and anticipation always arose when she stepped into a new house. Sometimes these houses weren't just homes but pages of old stories, where each wall and hidden corner whispered secrets of the past. During one move to a new house, as usual, Kai was curious and excited. She thought this would mark a new chapter for her high school life. But little did she know that the seemingly peaceful house harbored a horrifying secret. The nightmare began when she sensed the presence of a mysterious female spirit, one that controlled and spread fear to anyone daring to approach the house. The haunting and cruelty intensified as Kai uncovered the story behind the strange disappearance of the previous homeowner. The house that Kai and her family moved into was located on a small street corner, standing out with its classic and somewhat mysterious appearance. It had a European-style architecture, with pale gray paint and sloping roof tiles. In front of the house, an iron gate opened to a small gravel path leading into a lush garden. Upon entering, the interior was spacious and airy. The living room had high ceilings, gleaming wooden floors, and large windows that allowed natural light to flood in. The furniture was arranged with antique pieces and delicate details, creating a cozy and elegant atmosphere. The bedrooms were also spacious and comfortable, with small windows looking out to the garden or the street. The bathrooms were fully equipped with modern amenities while retaining a classic and refined touch. On the first day after moving in, Kai and her family quickly finished unpacking. Though exhausted, there was an air of excitement and happiness throughout the house. Kai sat in the spacious living room, looking out the window at the beautiful garden in front, feeling the peace and harmony of the place. Beside her, her parents were equally thrilled and eager. They were delighted to have bought the house from the previous owner at a price lower than other options in the area. This house was located in a quiet and safe neighborhood, close to schools and essential amenities, making it an ideal environment for everyone. They saw it as a great opportunity to invest more in upgrading and decorating the home. After the first joyful evening, Kai and her family felt truly cozy in their new home. They sat at the long dining table in the modern kitchen, enjoying a meal filled with their favorite dishes, carefully prepared by Kai's mother. Laughter echoed throughout, and the atmosphere was warm and lively. Kai felt happiness and safety beside her family. But beneath the surface of the early days' tranquility, the house concealed a terrible secret that Kai and her family had no inkling of. In the days that followed, Kai began to sense something unusual happening in the house. A series of strange and supernatural events started occurring, leaving her and her family bewildered and fearful. At first, it was the odd noises coming from unknown sources, followed by eerie echoes from upstairs, even when no one was there. Strange footsteps at night, and at times, a sudden chill swirling through the house even when the outside was calm. Kai frequently felt a strange presence around her, as if unseen eyes were watching from the darkness, or a cold sensation piercing her skin during the late hours. These phenomena gradually made her anxious and unsettled. The other family members also started noticing similar strange occurrences. At night, phones would ring with no one on the other end, and objects mysteriously scattered on the floor despite Kai's mother having cleaned everything up earlier. Kai found herself engulfed by the horrors of these supernatural events. She could feel the pressure mounting from the bizarre happenings surrounding her new home. These events were not only frightening but also posed a threat to the safety of her and her family. One night, Kai was deep in sleep when she was suddenly awakened by a sudden thirst. She slipped out of bed, her bare feet brushing against the cool floor, and stepped out of her room. She turned on the hallway and living room lights, the soft yellow glow casting a hazy light in the darkened house. Kai quietly descended the stairs, careful not to make any noise and to avoid the sound reverberating in the still air. Upon reaching the kitchen, Kai poured herself a glass of water from the faucet, the steady stream calming her nerves. She drank from the glass, feeling the relief as her thirst was quenched. As she bent down to place the glass back in the sink, an eerie sensation washed over her. She turned her head and was startled to see a figure reflected in the window behind her. A wave of fear engulfed her as the figure vanished instantly. Kai blinked and rubbed her eyes, unsure if she had actually seen anything or if it was just an illusion. The tension rose, and she no longer wanted to stay in the kitchen. Just as Kai was about to ascend the stairs and return to her room, the space around her twisted like a spiraling shell, and all the lights in the house suddenly flared up abnormally. Then, Kai saw the figure of a woman standing by the stove. The dim, hazy light made the woman look like a ghostly apparition. She wore a long white dress, the hem swaying as if stirred by an invisible breeze. She was cooking, stirring a pot with natural, rhythmic motions, swaying slightly to the distant music playing from an old radio on the shelf. From the very first glance, Kai knew that this woman was not alive. A thought flickered through her mind. Perhaps this woman was the source of the strange occurrences that had been happening in the house recently. Kai felt a cold shiver run down her spine and didn't know what to do in this situation. She kept her composure and observed from a distance. The woman seemed completely unaware of her presence, focusing on cooking as usual. Her movements in the kitchen appeared familiar and natural, as if she belonged there. The woman continued to sway to the music, her eyes gazing into the distance, not at Kai, but her smile remained soft and gentle. Suddenly, the woman turned around, waving the kitchen knife in her hand. Each of her movements was strong and decisive. She danced joyfully to the music, and in an instant, she threw the knife towards Kai. Startled, Kai quickly stepped back, narrowly avoiding the blade. Fear surged through her body, but she tried to remain calm. She stared at the woman, trying to understand why she had acted that way. The woman still smiled with a mysterious expression, looking off into the distance, but now the tension and anxiety filled the room. "Who are you? Why are you in my house?" Kai asked firmly. The woman said nothing, only smiled softly and continued swaying to the music as if nothing had happened. Then, in a fleeting moment, her face changed, bloodied and fierce. She screamed wildly, rushing at Kai with her gnarled hands outstretched. Seeing the sudden and dangerous shift, Kai used all her strength to run back to her bedroom, slamming the door shut and climbing into bed. She breathed heavily, staring at the door, hearing no strange noises from outside. It seemed the woman hadn't followed her. Sitting on the bed, her body trembling with terror and survival instinct, Kai tried to calm herself down. She tried to drift back into sleep, but the horrifying image of the woman remained in her mind. Kai felt her world slowing down, everything around her falling into an unnatural and eerie state. She couldn't comprehend why the woman had such a bizarre appearance or why she had appeared in Kai's house. That night, Kai had an eerie and terrifying experience, one filled with horrific discoveries that she would never forget. The next day, Kai decided to begin searching for information about the house and its previous owner. She dug through old records, searched online, and questioned the neighbors. However, the information she gathered was scarce and unremarkable. The former owners had moved away long ago, and few people remembered them. The rumors and stories about them had gradually faded with time, leaving only vague traces in the memories of the locals. Kai felt frustrated by the lack of clarity in her findings, but she didn't give up. She resolved to keep investigating, determined to uncover some clue that might explain the strange events happening in her new home. Day by day, Kai devoted more time to her research, not only to answer the questions swirling in her mind, but also to protect her family from the terrifying supernatural occurrences. She began to sense that the answers might lie hidden deep within the mysterious past of the house. One day, after a long day of searching for the house's past, Kai returned home, her exhaustion visible. She decided to relax in a warm bath. As she entered the tub, she sighed in relief as the warm water enveloped her body, washing away the day's fatigue. But suddenly, the warm water grew unnaturally cold. Kai sensed the presence of the strange woman nearby. She quickly grabbed her towel, trying to remain calm. However, yet another shock hit her when something black began to rise from the water. Kai looked closely, horrified to realize it was hair. And then, the hair floated to the surface, right in front of her face. Beneath it were two deep, cold eyes staring at her. Kai recognized the eyes. They belonged to the woman in the kitchen. The woman, with her disheveled black hair, was grinning maniacally and started to drag Kai underwater. Kai was overwhelmed with terror. She thrashed and struggled, punching and kicking wildly, hoping to break free from the horrific grip. Finally, Kai managed to escape the woman's hold, quickly wrapping herself in a towel and running out of the bathroom. her breath gradually returning to normal after the harrowing scare. She couldn't believe what had just happened. Gasping, she hurriedly put on a robe, realizing she had just lived through a nightmare. But looking down at her drenched robe, she knew it was real. From that night on, Kai could not shake the horrifying image from the bathroom. She was certain she had entered a world of unexplainable supernatural events. Every night, Kai had nightmares about the terrifying events she had witnessed. She felt the presence of malevolent spirits and supernatural forces quietly controlling her life. The sense of being haunted and disturbed prevented her from feeling safe or focusing on anything else. Day by day, her fear grew, and her spiritual sensitivity intensified. She always tried to protect her family from the lurking dangers, but the mental and physical toll was wearing her down. One night, while Kai was deep in sleep, she was awakened by a soft rustling noise in her bedroom. She opened her eyes, feeling uneasy, and looked around the room, noticing that the window was unusually open. Moonlight poured into the room through the window, casting beams of light across the floor. As Kai looked at the open window again, she suddenly saw the figure of a woman standing just a few steps away from her. The woman's deep, hollow eyes and eerie smile were still there on her face. Kai suddenly felt an icy chill spreading through her body as she stared at the woman. Fear and confusion surged within her. She tried to stay calm and asked, "Who are you? Why are you here? What do you want from us?" The woman didn't respond, only silently gazing at Kai, her face still holding that mysterious smile. She looked at Kai with cold, sharp eyes. The more Kai stared, the more she felt drawn into the woman's eerie and dark presence. After so many times of being haunted, and with her family having lived in fear for so long, Kai decided to face the woman directly and put an end to the nightmare. Kai pulled off her blanket, stood up from the bed, and walked toward the woman. Under the dim light, Kai's face reflected calm determination. With every step closer to the woman, the icy atmosphere gradually faded. Kai asked, "I don't know why you're here, but if you want something, just say it. Stop haunting my family day and night." A flicker of light appeared in the woman's eyes. She muttered something, a strange whisper. The Sapelli tree. Under the Sapelli tree. Her voice was eerie, yet Kai could detect a trace of sorrow in it. A shiver ran through Kai as the woman continued to smile mysteriously. Suddenly, Kai remembered the ancient Sapelli tree in the garden. Without thinking about the fear, she rushed downstairs, grabbed a coat, opened the front door, and ran outside. The light from the lamp above the entrance illuminated the small yard and cast an eerie glow on the Sapelli tree, creating an unsettling and mysterious atmosphere. The tall Sapelli tree, with its wide branches, now became the focus of Kai's attention. The tree had witnessed many events of the house and its previous owners. It embodied both the ancient beauty and the hidden mysteries of the past. Kai sensed an invisible presence, a faint but powerful mist surrounding the tree. Kai stood tall, staring at the Sapelli tree as if searching for answers to the mysterious events. In the cold, silent air, the tree loomed, dark and haunting, seemingly holding many secrets that the previous owners had hidden. By this time, the sky was beginning to lighten. Kai ran back inside and woke her parents. The family gathered around the Sapelli tree in the garden, where perhaps the source of the strange events had begun when Kai and her family first moved into the house. Kai carefully explained her sudden actions to her parents. "I often wake up in the night because I hear rustling sounds under the tree, like claws scratching the trunk. At first, I thought it was just stray cats or rats, but many times, when I looked through the window, there was nothing under the tree. I think something is buried beneath this tree, something that may be linked to the strange happenings in our house." Kai's father went to the shed and brought out 2 small shovels. Father and daughter began digging at the base of the Sapelli tree. The first few digs revealed nothing unusual, but as they dug deeper, they started to uncover strange things. Beneath the soil, they found an old wooden box, decayed by termites but still intact inside. When they opened it, the mysteries began to unravel before their eyes. Inside the box were a diary, some old hand-drawn sketches, and a few ancient items. The diary contained the thoughts of the husband, the previous owner of the house, about the pain his family endured when his wife was believed to have gone mad. The hand-drawn sketches, which Kai guessed were drawn by the wife, depicted supernatural scenes and strange events that their family had experienced, or perhaps they were simply the drawings of a woman in a state of madness and delusion. Kai and her family couldn't believe what they had just uncovered. The secret secrets buried under the Sapelli tree were now laid bare. The story of the mysterious disappearance of the previous owners was slowly coming to light, and Kai's family had to face a terrifying truth they never imagined. Beneath the old wooden box, Kai and her family discovered a large iron container. When they opened it, they were horrified to find a human skeleton inside. Kai's father quickly told his wife and daughter to step back, and Kai to call the police. Kai rushed inside and dialed the police as her father instructed. The police soon arrived and began investigating. Over time, more information about the previous owners' lives gradually came to light. Investigations revealed that the husband, unable to bear his wife's madness, had killed her. After the crime, he buried her body beneath the Sapelli tree in the garden. The cruelty and tragedy of this crime shook the community. Kai and her family were shocked and horrified to learn the truth behind the house. Her parents realized that this was the reason they had bought the house at a low price, and why none of the previous residents could stay for long. Kai also understood that the woman's vengeful spirit had been driven by the madness she had suffered from. Thus, the haunting events and supernatural occurrences tied to the house were finally explained and brought to an end. After the police completed their investigation and arrested the husband responsible for his wife's death, all the strange events in Kai's house seemed to stop. The police found enough evidence to bring the men to justice, even though the crime had occurred 20 years earlier. The case became public, and the husband faced the punishment he deserved under the law. This brought peace and relief to Kai and her family after months of fear and anxiety. With justice served and the woman's remains properly buried, her restless spirit was believed to have finally found peace. Investigators concluded that her appearances and the strange events were linked to her lingering soul. But once justice was done, she found the release she had long sought. From that point on, no further supernatural occurrences took place in Kai's new home. Her family gradually returned to normal life, and the house began to provide the peace and happiness they had always dreamed of. This marked the end of a tragic and mysterious story, where justice was served and peace was restored to Kai and her family.